It's a strange feeling when someone you've admired for so long is suddenly gone. Robert Redford, an icon who shaped American cinema and culture for over 50 years, passed away just hours ago at the age of 89. It's hard to imagine a world without him, isn't it? Tributes are pouring in from every corner of Hollywood, but as the dust settles, people are beginning to look beyond his fame. They're looking at what he left behind, and what they're finding is truly unexpected. At the heart of his legacy is the Sundance estate. Nestled in the mountains of Utah, this wasn't just a home, it was a vision. A retreat far removed from the hustle of Hollywood, where Redford could retreat into nature, live his life, and nurture his creative spirit. It wasn't just a place for him to escape, though it was a place where his dreams came to life. But now, as the world begins to take stock of what he left behind, secrets hidden deep in the estate are slowly being uncovered. Inside those walls, a treasure trove of Native American artifacts, pottery, rugs, carvings, all carefully curated over decades. Pieces that, until now, had never seen the light of day. These weren't just any items, they were part of one of the most significant private collections of indigenous art in the country. As curators scrambled to catalog everything, it's clear Redford wasn't just an actor or a director. He was a collector of history, a quiet steward of a culture that few knew he had such a deep connection to. But there's more, much more. When Redford first bought that land in the 60s, it wasn't to build a film festival empire, it was to protect something. And he did. The land, much of it untouched, was kept out of the hands of developers. Some of it was even put into conservation trusts, ensuring it would remain pristine for generations. Redford wasn't just thinking about the here and now, he was thinking about the future. His estate wasn't simply land, it was a living testament to his vision, a place where nature and art could coexist, where beauty could be protected for the long haul. But here's where things start to get interesting. Robert Redford wasn't just a man of art and conservation. His real estate empire stretches far beyond those mountains. After his passing, estate records revealed an intricate web of properties across the country. In Napa Valley, he had a sprawling wine estate that he eventually sold for nearly $7 million. In coastal California, he flipped a cottage for a tidy profit. But these aren't just deals, these were purposeful purchases. Parcels of land, some placed into conservation easements, ensuring they couldn't be developed or commercialized. Others were linked to philanthropic causes as evidence of Redford's commitment to more than just personal wealth. He was planning for the future, using his resources to create something bigger than himself. But with that vision comes complexity. The probate process isn't going to be easy, as his estate isn't just about land or property, it's about ensuring his values live on. His real estate dealings aren't just about acquiring wealth, they're about shaping the future, making sure that the land he cherished continues to serve the greater good. And then there's the Sundance Catalog, a symbol of Redford's commitment to bringing art and craftsmanship to everyday life. Launched in the 80s, it became a beacon of authenticity and creativity. But after Redford's passing, the story took a darker turn. The catalog, once a thriving cultural business, was found to be in deep financial trouble. Just weeks before his death, the catalog announced it was closing all of its stores, with mounting debts and unpaid artisans. The liquidation process began, leaving a bittersweet legacy in its wake. It's hard not to feel a pang of sadness when you think about it. The catalog was part of Redford's dream, yet it ultimately fell victim to the unpredictable balance of art, business, and legacy. The catalog's closure leaves questions about what went wrong, but it also reminds us of a truth. Even the brightest stars leave unfinished chapters behind. But maybe that's the point. Redford's legacy isn't just in the movies he made, the land he protected, or the brand he built. It's in the story of a man who, in his quiet way, left a profound mark on the world. The treasure he left behind, both tangible and intangible, will shape how we remember him for years to come. In the quiet aftermath of Robert Redford's passing, as his family and legal teams sift through the complex web of his estate, an unexpected revelation has emerged, one not hidden in bank accounts or real estate records, but within the very walls of his beloved Sundance home. For decades, Redford had been a secretive yet passionate collector of Native American art. Rugs, pottery, intricate hand-carved figures, and century-old weavings filled his estate, many of which had never seen the public eye. Experts brought in to evaluate the collection have called it one of the most significant private collections of indigenous art in the United States. But the treasures didn't stop there. Hidden away in a secure wing of the house, archivists uncovered a treasure trove of personal items, letters, journals, and boxes of notes chronicling Redford's 70-year career. Some of the correspondence came from Hollywood legends like Paul Newman, Jane Fonda, and Sidney Pollack, while others contained Redford's musings on politics, environmental struggles, and his own personal battles. What these writings reveal is a far more intimate, layered portrait of the man than the public ever knew. Amidst these treasures, whispers of unfinished creative work surfaced drafts of scripts, treatment notes, and film ideas that Redford had quietly continued to develop well after his supposed retirement. Whether these projects will ever be completed is still uncertain, but the fact that they exist speaks volumes about his never-ending passion for storytelling. For historians, what was discovered at the Sundance estate transcends mere material wealth. It's a cultural archive, a record of Redford's passions, his friendships, and his deep-rooted philosophies. These discoveries are just the beginning. What's clear, though, is that they present Redford not just as a Hollywood star, but as a meticulous curator of art, memory, legacy, and social activism. If there's one thing that became unmistakably clear as his estate was probed, it's the depth of Redford's philanthropic efforts. While the world knew of his dedication to environmental protection and indigenous rights, it was within the walls of his estate that the full extent of his private generosity began to emerge. Hidden in trust documents and private letters were instructions that would redirect millions of dollars toward causes Redford had quietly supported throughout his life. Substantial portions of his fortune were earmarked for the Sundance Institute, the non-profit he founded to support independent filmmakers, as well as conservation efforts in the American West, scholarships for Native American artists, and even anonymous donations that had been funneled through shell organizations, all under the radar. What stunned many, however, was the level of secrecy surrounding Redford's charitable plans. Unlike many celebrities who bask in the spotlight of their philanthropy, Redford preferred to keep his contributions out of the public eye. In fact, estate lawyers have found that some of his wealth may bypass traditional probate entirely, flowing into pre-established foundations that will operate for decades, all without bearing his name. For those who knew him best, this came as no surprise. Redford's legacy wasn't just about his career in film or the Sundance Film Festival, it was about supporting the causes that mattered most to him, ensuring that they continued long after his passing. However, even the most carefully laid plans come with their complications. With Redford's estate so vast and intertwined with conservation trusts, unpaid debts, and the collapse of the Sundance Catalog, the division of assets has proven anything but straightforward. His family, which includes his daughters Shauna and Amy, as well as several grandchildren, faces a delicate balancing act. Initial reports suggest that his will and trust documents were carefully structured to minimize any potential legal conflicts, but the sheer complexity of his holdings means that there's still much to sort through. There's speculation that some of Redford's more valuable properties and collections might be designated for institutions rather than family members, which could lead to a smaller inheritance than expected. Redford, after all, had always been just as committed to protecting the planet and promoting independent art as he was to his family. It's this balance that now hangs in the balance, as his heirs navigate the final wishes of a man whose legacy extends far beyond the typical wealth of a Hollywood icon. But Redford's creative journey didn't end with his acting career. In the days following his death, archivists uncovered notebooks, digital drives, and fragments of screenplays that suggest Redford had never truly stepped away from the creative process. Some of the notes were dated only a few years ago, indicating that even in his later years, Redford remained deeply engaged in projects about issues he cared about: climate change, American democracy, and indigenous struggles. Some of these materials were drafts of films, others ideas for potential documentaries. There were even emails and letters between Redford and younger filmmakers offering advice and collaboration. These discoveries make it clear Redford wasn't one to rest on his laurels. He remained driven to shape the stories of tomorrow, not just reflect on the ones he had already told. And then there were the personal letters, written reflections, heartfelt notes to family, and exchanges with some of the most famous names in Hollywood. These letters, tucked away in boxes and cabinets, were a window into Redford's private world. Among them were handwritten notes from Paul Newman, offering a glimpse into their deep friendship, as well as letters from directors like George Roy Hill, showing the intellectual and emotional bond they shared over their work. There were also personal letters to his late son James, filled with tender expressions of love and loss, offering a side of Redford that the public rarely saw, a man navigating the complexities of fame, family, and a rapidly changing world. For fans and historians alike, these letters offer an invaluable look at the man behind the public image. They reveal Redford as more than just an actor or director. They show him as a father, a friend, an activist, and an artist grappling with personal demons and triumphs alike. Whether these letters will ever be published or remain within the family is still uncertain, but what's clear is that they add a profoundly human layer to the legacy he leaves behind. However, no legacy is without its shadows. While the treasures of art and personal letters offer a rich narrative of Redford's life, the financial records tell a more complicated story. Among the discoveries were debts tied to the collapse of the Sundance Catalog, with unpaid invoices and claims from vendors and artisans. Though Redford had stepped back from the brand years before, the lingering financial troubles have created a complicated situation. It's unclear how much of his estate will be used to resolve these debts and what impact they might have on his heirs and the causes he cared about. Legal experts predict that the probate process will be a long one, filled with complex litigation as creditors try to tie Redford's personal wealth to his business's financial collapse. As much as his family wishes to honor Redford's memory and legacy, they'll also have to confront the reality of his financial entanglements, a stark reminder that even the most legendary figures can't escape the intricacies of modern finance. For now, though, Redford's family stands at a crossroads. They are tasked with not only inheriting his wealth, but also taking on the immense responsibility of preserving a legacy far larger than any one family could carry alone. As the estate is sorted through, more revelations will surely emerge, reshaping our understanding of the man who, for decades, captivated audiences and changed the cultural landscape forever.